Well, the Republican Party divided. As we know, former President Trump has his sights set on 2024, but now questions on what Democrats will do. So joining us now, Laura Fink, who served as an advisor for multiple members of Congress, also the founder and CEO of Rebelle Communications. Laura, it's great to have you back here with us. We know last night Mick Mulvaney told Chris Cuomo he thinks Donald Trump is the only Republican who could lose the 2024 election. Let's listen to that.
I think he's the only Republican who could lose. I mean, if the election were tonight against Joe Biden, or pick a Democrat, I think Joe Biden's probably the best the Democrats have going, which is, I think they wish they had something else, but they've got Joe Biden. I think Ron DeSantis beats Joe Biden. I think Tim Scott beats Joe Biden. Mike Pence does. Nikki Haley does. Mike Pompeo does. I think Trump might be the only Republican who could lose. Why is that? Because an election with Donald Trump wouldn't be about anything other than Donald Trump.
All right, so Laura, we heard Mick Mulvaney there. Is that more of an indictment of Trump or more of an indictment of Democrats?
Well, I think Mick Mulvaney knows something about losing, so I got to give him credit for that as Trump's former chief of staff. But I will say that he's expressing the opinion of the establishment Republican Party. They see this runaway freight train that is Trump, and he can't be stopped, and he's going in the wrong direction. So I think the Republicans have something to contemplate. That Trump can easily sway 30% of voters. But Republicans know, like Mick Mulvaney, that he is also the biggest catalyst for galvanizing and uniting Democrats, independents, and even some Republicans in opposition to him. We saw that consistently in the 2020 election and now again in 2022. So they want a different guy, but their base feels differently because they still have so many people within the base that are Trump followers and acolytes.
All right, so let's talk about Biden. President Biden turns 80 on Sunday. We know obviously Trump is in his 70s, but Biden's approval rating has at least been low, more recently. Is he the best 2024 option for Democrats?
I think absolutely. You saw him beating the odds again just a week ago, and we're having a conversation about where he's at. People are disapproving of Biden, but they also know that the alternative is not something that they want to see. So they have mild disapproval of him, some segment of that, which means that they're gettable, which means as he unites the Democratic base, as he peels over some of those independents, as we see inflation abating and the economy improving, it's going to be 2 years of recovery, and he's in strong position.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.